think we as human beings are wired to want to be comfortable. But for some reason, some wire got crossed in my head because whenever I get comfortable, it makes me uncomfortable. So your first question may be, why are you renting a space? Why take on the cost, the risk, all that extra burden of responsibility? And my answer to that is because what I've realized is keeping me from scaling to where I want to go is the fact that I'm trying to do everything out of my house. Now, a lot of what I want to do in 2023 centers around bringing products to market, and I'm already kind of doing that at a small scale in my basement, but it is absolute chaos. Like, can I shove 25 printers in my house and run fulfillment and package things and get it done in my house? Technically, yes. But what happens when I want to grow that? Or what happens if I want to take on another project? If I really want to branch out, if I really want to see how far I can go, I need a building. So I'm going to take a leap of faith and I'm going to go rent a property. I'm going to run production out of there. I'm going to run fulfillment out of there. And it's going to have the added benefit also of being able to help me separate work from life. All right, so here we are. This is the building where I signed the lease, and as you can see, it's not a whole lot to look at from the outside, which is okay. You see, when you're looking for commercial or industrial property, things like signage and frontage, as in like how a customer would see it from the road, really factors into the price. And since I don't care if customers see it from the road because I'm not going to be pulling in people from the road, I don't need any of that fancy stuff. So as you can see, I just kind of have a blank building. Now I'll probably put a sign on the door or something just so that I know where the heck to go, but it doesn't matter for a customer. Now this building sits on kind of a large campus that used to be part of a research organization that did probably like aliens and 007 cars or something. But anyway, now it's actually owned by the Ohio University as a research complex. So there's kind of a cool mix of innovative companies and startups and engineering and research that, I don't know, who knows, maybe I could tap into at some point, but it's getting kind of cold out. Let me show you inside. So as you walk in, you kind of come into this little opening. I don't know, it's kind of an awkward space, to be honest. But one of the most important things on my wish list when looking for a building is right here. And that would be an easy way to get a pallet or something heavy in and out of the building. So it makes it super convenient if I have something delivered on a pallet, it gets dropped off right outside and I can just bring it right in through these double doors. Or if in the future I bring in some large piece of equipment, it can easily fit through the doors as well. You see, there's tons of frustrating things about working out of the house, but one of the most frustrating is when I get anything delivered that's not just in a cardboard box, having the delivery person try to navigate up our really steep, long driveway. It's just a nightmare. I've had to figure out how to get very heavy stuff up that driveway on more than one occasion. And with this, that goes away. So as we walk out of that little entryway area, we enter the main opening of the space, which is right here. Now the section of the building that I'm renting is about 3,000 square feet. And the shop space that I'll show you out here is about 2,500 square feet. We've got this big open area and there's actually 3 little rooms that I'll show you more of here in a second. And one thing you'll notice is the drop ceilings. These are only 8-foot ceilings, which in a perfect world, I'd probably want a little higher, but it is a drop ceiling, which means I have access up there if I need to run, lines or whatever, which is nice. The benefit of having a ceiling height a little bit lower and it being a drop ceiling is that the echo is knocked down big time. So if I ever want to do any filming in here, you don't have to hear the annoying echo. Now this area you see behind me up against the wall underneath the windows is going to be fulfillment and shipping and inventory. So instead of having the current nightmare of our basement of filling and shipping a bunch of products, we'll have a nice process flow, kind of goes that way towards the door where we eventually ship out batches of orders. Now all that stuff that you saw in the entryway as we walked in is actually all of the racking and shelving for that whole system. So I've got to get that set up. It was delivered today, again, on 2 pallets. That was really easy to handle and I was able to get it right inside. So those double doors already coming in handy. Now this back corner here, I'm still a little undecided on exactly what I want to do. I know this is going to be where I do a lot of R&D and product design and that kind of stuff, but I'm wondering, and be interesting to get your feedback on this, do I set it up to look like a shop, kind of like I have in my garage with nice cabinets and everything behind it, or do I not worry about that and just make it functional, just with like toolboxes and a couple workbenches? I don't know. Oh, and since we're looking at the corner, one of the biggest things for me about this building that was attractive was power and utilities. You see, this place used to actually be rented by a 3D printing company, a metal 3D printing company, which uses very high-powered lasers, which needs a lot of power. Like this right here, a brand new 3-phase panel. So in the future, if I ever need 3-phase power, it's right here. Anyone out there who knows, it's very hard to get 3-phase power into a place, and when you can, it's not cheap. So the fact that it's right here, I mean, come on. But there's also like 6 or 8 individual 220 circuits. So there's 2 here, there's at least 1 in each one of the rooms, which I'll show you, and everything is plumbed for gas. Now they were using argon or nitrogen as the inert gas in the 3D printer, which was all fed out of a tank outside, but I could just as easily put an air compressor out there and now have compressed air at a bunch of different points in the shop. So definitely cool, and definitely opens up the possibilities of what I can do in here, like CNC lasers, big routers, and even a mill. And you may be looking at this going, wow, that's a really nice, clean space. How'd you find a space like that? Well, it didn't look like this at all when I moved in. In fact, I've spent the past week getting this thing ready. And that started with covering up this god-awful purple paint that was on every single wall. You can still see it on some of the doors, and it really bothers me, and I am gonna paint the doors, but that's just not important for moving in. So I started by masking and taping off this entire place and actually spraying all the walls with my new Graco sprayer. This thing was awesome. Now the thing about spraying is there's a lot more prep work because the spray goes everywhere, so you gotta mask kind of a lot. But once it's all set up, you can just go to town, ripping on all the walls, and it was crazy fast. Now, I have never been, nor am I claiming right now to be a good painter. I mean, I got overspray on most of the ceiling tiles and on some parts of the floor, but who cares? And then once everything was painted and I got all the masking taken down, then I went to town cleaning the floors because the floors were disgusting. When the building was turned over to me, it was given to me in broom clean condition. Even then, I think it was being a little generous. You had all these weird stains, like green stains from, I'm guessing, like a copper alloy from one of the metal 3D printers getting on the ground, mixing with water, oxidizing, I don't know, but it certainly was not clean. So there's tape all over the floor from where I guess they had equipment that they wanted to tape off, so I got all that up. And then I went to town with this little industrial floor scrubber that I rented and spent the better part of probably 5 or 6 hours scrubbing this floor. And listen, I don't need to eat off of it. It doesn't even have to look perfect. I just want it to look better than it did.
Wow. Oh, wow. Whoa. Oh. Whoa.
And I knew that once I moved stuff in here, there was not a chance in hell that I was gonna do it later. So now was my time, so I figured I might as well do it. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks pretty good. Again, it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be for what I'm gonna use it for, but now I've got a space that's ready to move in. Now, kind of directly across from that corner where we're just looking at are these 2 double doors. Let me show you this. And this right here is probably the #1 reason why I picked this building out of any of the others that I looked at. What we've got is a dedicated 3D printer room. And the first thing I want you to notice is the ductless mini split sitting right here that's just for this room. Again, that previous tenant was running 2 big laser machines in here, which produce a lot of heat, so they wanted to cool the space separate from everything else. Well, that's exactly what I want to do with a big bank of 3D printers. So this is going to be the print farm itself. Now, based on my calculations, I can fit about 75 printers in here, and I have 25 now. So if I fill this up, I got problems. But as you can see, it's kind of a long, skinny room, which works well for racks full of 3D printers. So I've already bought 2 racks here, 2 racks there. That can hold 36 printers pretty comfortably, and then the rest would be on the opposite walls, you know, if I get to that point. But again, the room already has plenty of power. It's got, I think, 3 220 circuits and a couple of 110 circuits. Now, I do have an electrician coming next week who's gonna put a couple more 110 circuits in here just for the amount of 3D printers I anticipate I might get at some point. I'd rather get it all done now rather than try and add it later. But once that's done, we can start moving everything in here. And this is the room that I really wanted to get done first because having this set up means that we don't have printers in our basement anymore. So that's the printer room. One other cool detail is that they have these low voltage signs, kind of like an exit sign above all these doors. They used to say laser in use, and there's a switch inside. So anytime they're running the lasers, they'd flip that on so you would know not to open the door and get blasted in the face with a laser beam. But I thought it'd be cool to make my own sign, kind of like a print farm sign or something like that, and utilize the wiring that's already there. And then kind of right next to the print farm room are these double doors here that go out to some bathrooms that actually share with the other tenant on the other side of the building. All right, so let's go back this way and I'll show you these 2 small rooms. And the first thing you may notice is this weird kind of blue window that's on this one as well as there. This is actually laser safe glass. Now, I don't need that, but I think it's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna keep it. But this room here is another kind of unique selling feature, a junk room. No, I'm just kidding. But you can see the original hideous purple paint that's in here that I haven't done yet, which I'll do at a later time. But this room also has its own dedicated mini split. Now it's obviously a lot smaller than the print farm room itself, but it does have 2 dedicated 220 lines as well as a couple other 110 lines and actually access for ventilation. So this may be a great room for some CNC lasers in the future. I'm just saying. But this other little room next to it is about the same size as this one, but it doesn't have a mini split or nearly as much power. There is 1 220 circuit in here as well as at least 1 other 110 circuit, and it's also plumbed for gas or compressed air, whatever I want to use it for. Now I think immediate term plans for this room is going to be some sort of storage, just overflow for materials and whatever else we have to keep it out of this main space. All right, so that's the majority of this space, the little rooms, everything out here. The last place I want to show you is the offices. You can see we just come right around the corner back to where we started. This door right here is the hallway into the office area. Oh, right off the bat, we've got more cool signage. I mean, I have to leave this stuff up, right? It's just cool. Now this little hallway here leads to two different office areas. The first one is the smaller office right here, and nothing really too terribly exciting in here. It's an 8-foot wide by 15-foot long office, so good size, not huge, can't really do much else in here, but could be a good spot for my wife to set her stuff up, or eventually when we get an employee or two, maybe they can be housed in here. And now the second office is down the hall a little ways, and it is a heck of a lot bigger than that one. This office here is about 15 by 20, so quite a bit larger than the other small office over here. Now I certainly don't need an office this big, but one idea I did have is to create almost like a backdrop on this back wall so I can shoot videos up against here. I can set up all the proper lighting and get the acoustics right and just be able to shoot really nice talking head videos when I want to talk about a certain subject that isn't in a shop. And then maybe I can just like set up a desk on the other side just to work from. I don't know, it's an idea. And that's basically it in a nutshell. It's exciting and scary all at the same time. Do I need 3,000 square feet right now? No. But do I hope to grow into it? Yes. So I guess we'll just see how it goes. Now I do have one important question I want to ask you. Now I'm obviously going to be spending a lot of time in this space developing processes and products and just going down that whole rabbit hole. And I do want to share that with people. But should I do that under Shop Nation? Or should I create almost a second channel where I can document that? Shop Nation would stay shop focused, shop projects, building stuff, and this other new thing would be starting a business, optimizing a business, running a print farm, using digital manufacturing, that kind of stuff. Should those stay separate or can they kind of be mixed? I honestly don't know. So any and all feedback is totally appreciated. I'm gonna read through everything. So go ahead and leave those down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you guys in the next project, which yes, I still need to finish the shed. But until next time, keep pursuing shop greatness.